Welcome to Inspired by Design, the podcast where we explore the tools, stories, and insights to help you rediscover your authentic self and navigate life with less resistance. I'm Katie Rupert, a former hustle and grind overachiever on a thrilling and messy journey. I love to share what I'm learning and help others in self-discovery using human design. So if you're seeking a way to move forward, let me be your weekly mindset coach and share stories to inspire you to action towards your unique purpose without the force or burnout. Hello, listeners. Welcome back. Today is going to feel a little different, but I am excited to share this with you. I've been in a season of my life that has been very trying, very tough. And one of the things that has come up for me as I began working with a therapist again is there's a lot of times when fear holds me back. And I wonder if you can relate. I think fear is very natural, and there's lots of different kinds of fear. When I think about it, I know that the question can become, is fear holding me back from doing what I know is meant for me to do next? Am I letting fear hold me back? Or is this fear that I need to feel, acknowledge, and walk through with courage and trust, self-trust? This is something that's been coming up a lot in my life as I am in a transition of life. I have started this business and, the unknown of putting my voice out there, both with this podcast and with starting to do human design readings and just really following my passion to share and help people have that same experience that I've had with this system, helping you identify like what it is you really want. How can you make decisions that are clear and confident and not have to second guess yourself? Every year I choose a word, and I should do a couple of episodes on word of the year. If you have a word of the year, or if that's something you've practiced before, I would love for you to just drop me a note. I'd love to know what it is and what it means to you. But the word of the year that I chose that really came to me was trust, because I saw so much unknown coming in my life. And I knew that the only thing I could do is trust myself, trust my voice, trust my design, trust who I'm meant to be is still evolving. And I'm in a place where I'm no longer who I used to be. I've learned some lessons. I've shed some old beliefs and habits and things that have limited me or made me feel small. But I'm not quite who I am becoming. I'm somewhere in the middle. And this can go from feeling empowering to feel like torture. I'm just curious if you can relate, but this is me. This is what's going on. And if you are part of my Pampered Chef team, you're part of the people who have opted in to receive a text from me every month as a customer of mine, or if you are in the Inspired by Design Facebook group, you've already heard this is a tough time. And I sent that out this week, and overwhelmingly the response was, I'm having a tough season too. So, I'm a big astrology nerd as well. And it's a very cosmic, energetic transition time. Like a lot of people are going through transformation. So if that's you, know that you're not alone. If you're going through a hard time, you're not alone, and it's worth it. And so today we're going to talk about fear. And the way that I want to do that, my partner and I were talking about where have I let fear hold me back? And he was sharing just, from the heart. And I had this spark oh my goodness, you know what? I remember in my training learning all about the Spleen Center in human design. You've got a body graph and there's 9 centers. And the one over on, when you're facing at the left-hand side, it's a triangle on the left side. It's an awareness center, and it has to do with instincts and that instant inner knowing of the safe way of security and safety and is this safe for me or not? And so that could be anything from physical safety, let's not go pet a venomous snake, to the instinct of this, like, I just know I need to take a right turn here, even though I usually go left. It could even look like this job, while it seems perfect on paper, it doesn't feel like it's my safe choice forward. And it's just an inner knowing. My logic doesn't agree. So the spleen is such a gift center. And whether you have your spleen center colored in or it's white space, there's gifts in there. And one of the things that is huge that you can contemplate, and that's what we're going to do on this episode about it, is where is fear holding you back and what flavor of fear is most likely to come up for you? And I'm really curious to see if as we talk about the flavor of fear, that do you identify with that, or how has that been true for you your whole life? Because, we're born in to this design, and then it's our potential. So it could be the potential to learn how to walk through fear and courage, or it could be the potential to be held back and play small and not be who we were meant to be because of these fears. So what I want you to do is grab your chart. So if you don't have your chart already saved, you can pause this, go to the show notes of this episode, or any episode actually, click on the Human Design Guide. You'll put your email in, and it'll automatically send it to you. In that guide, there is a link to run a chart, and it's free. So you can just put your birth date information in there, and then it will run it for you. So do that so you can see what your spleen center, or if you're driving or something, then do it later. But I think this is going to be really supportive and hopefully good things to think about today, especially if you're going through a hard time. So as I'm having this conversation with my spouse, he's talking about fear, and it just made me think about the gates. So I was like, I wonder what your gates are. So I looked up, and he had 3 active gates in his spleen center. And then I looked at mine. I have 3 as well. They're not the same 3, and there's 7 total. So I looked up the definition and kind of created a summary of the definition. And then within it, kind of got this idea to be like, how can we ask questions about the flavor of this gift or gate? Gift and gate are kind of interchangeable words for me in the design chart. But how can I start to consider, are these fears that I'm walking in courage through, or are these the fears that I let hold me back? And when has it been true either way, right? Because it's probably not. I'm always courageous in this idea, and I'm always fearful and play small in this other. So it's probably like a little bit of both throughout life, and then maybe right now. So came up with an affirmation and a reflection prompt for each. So now that you have your chart, hopefully, let me just mention that overwhelm is something that for me personally it's like a fear response. So in my masterclass, it starts on May 30th. Overwhelm's not a badge of honor. It's about resetting. And when I think and talk about overwhelm, a lot of times overwhelm is about indecision. You're second guessing yourself. And we already know I'm very passionate about making sure you use your inner authority in your human design chart. But I think this can also give you some insight. So if you haven't gotten your spot for the masterclass, there's still plenty of time. So that's also in the show notes. Just sign up. It's free. So come and join me, learn something about resetting overwhelm, regulating your nervous system, making sure that you're feeling good and energetic in your body as best you can for the circumstances you're in now. So after you've pulled your chart, let's go ahead and go through these gates. So the first one is highlighting the fear of death, or fear of life that doesn't have meaning. And this is one that's active for me personally. You're here to take aligned risks and live fully. Fear of failure or purposelessness might hold you back from taking big leaps. And you thrive on meaningful struggle and doing what's worth it to you. So in transparency here, when I got my human design reading, my reader who became my mentor, she said, so do you see yourself as a risk taker? And I said, ooh, I don't know. I don't think so. And then we got to talking, and she pointed out like, oh, so you quit your full-time job to do your own business? That's a risk, right? And I remember thinking, like, in those days, I had just had a baby. I was working full-time with a salary job that offered bonuses. And when I went back to work, I just didn't feel like I belonged there anymore. I didn't feel like I could keep that going. And so I started to dream. I started to dream about, could I make my direct sales Pampered Chef business full-time enough to stay home with my kids, like that felt worth it to me. And is it possible for me to like trust myself to get enough parties? That's a party plan business, right? So is it possible for me to get enough parties to make enough money to make up for what I'd be losing in my secure job? And I knew within me, like there was an inner knowing. This is that gut that I know it is best for me and it's worth it. And I know it's going to be hard. Like that's the struggle piece, but I couldn't not do it. And I wonder if you can relate to that. I've had other times in my life that feel that way. But meaningful struggle, right? Like relationships that you want to have continue. I'm willing to do what it takes to have the hard conversation, that sort of thing. So here's your contemplation. If you have gate 28, and actually if you don't, why not? Why not just consider, right? Reflection prompt for gate 28, the fear of death or the fear of life without meaning. What lessons have I learned through struggle? What lessons have I learned through struggle? Your affirmation, I trust the purpose in my journey and follow what life brings. I trust the purpose in my journey and follow what life brings. Okay, I can't wait to hear what you think about gate 28. Let's move on to gate 50. So if you have gate 50 in your chart, is called the fear of responsibility. You care deeply for others, but you might overextend yourself. You have strong values and a gift for bringing people together. Fear of disappointing others can lead to people pleasing and burnout. Guess what, listeners? I also have this one. And not only do I have this one, I have a full channel in this one, meaning it's a really prevalent gift and energy that I have in my body. Pretty much this whole podcast has been talking about how I'm a recovering overachiever. I have struggled with burnout and I am learning what is people pleasing and what is like mine to do, what's not mine to do. So the fear of responsibility, reflection prompt. Where am I taking on more than I need to? Where am I taking on more than I need to? What's your answer to that? I know I've met this question personally with, well, I have to do that. Well, that's my duty as a mom. That's my duty as a leader. That's my duty as a fill in the blank. And this is a huge lesson that I've been learning since I met Human Design. So the last few years, one of the mantras that I've had, it's very similar to the affirmation I put together for you. I'll read that first. I trust that caring for myself is part of caring for others. I trust that caring for myself is part of caring for others. So cultivating the trust within myself that it's okay for me to be selfish and kind, right? What my mantra has been, what's most aligned, what's best for me is ultimately what's best for everyone else. And I'm pretty sure I've said that in multiple episodes over and over, because as I build self-trust, the hardest thing for me to figure out with it is I'm so quickly prone to making myself smaller to lift someone else up. And it's like altruistic, right? So it's very tricky. I want the best for other people. And somewhere along the line, that became, I put other people above myself instead of, hey, we're all human, we're all valuable, that sort of difference. It's like, you're better, I'm worse. And that's not healthy. That is a fear response. I don't want to disappoint people so much that I'm willing to disappoint myself. Did that sting? Because that is so prevalent. And if I'm not intentional and I'm not trusting that caring for myself is part of caring for others, I mean, here's the problem. Everybody knows this, right? You know it intellectually, but if you aren't doing it in practice in little ways, you're not going to do it when it comes to the big fear you need to walk through and courage to become the person that you are meant to be. You must trust yourself that what's best for you is best for other people. It is like put your own oxygen mask on first before you help a kid or you pass out and, when the plane goes down or whatever. Everyone knows this analogy, but are you able to see how it applies to your life and do it in real time? Last night, I had a realization that I had said yes to something that has always been a heck yes for me, a speaking engagement. I love being in front of people. I love sharing what I know. Teaching is one of my ultimate passions and desires. I want to help people along by sharing the knowledge that I've learned. I love doing the work of learning. And so it's just natural for me to do it. And so I said yes to this speaking engagement, and it was an honor. It was going to be fun. There's no reason not to do it. Like, those are the thoughts that went through my head, but there was something inside of me that was like, this is not your best yes, Katie. And I did it anyway. And it never sat right. And I kept the commitment because I made the commitment, right? And I feared for several days once I realized, oh, I did this. I committed to this and it wasn't my best yes. Like, even though I knew in the instant, I let my head take over. Like, of course I want to do that. That's like everything that I love to do. But for whatever reason, my body said, hey, that's not your best safe choice. That's saying yes out of fear. Like, well, if I don't say yes to this, what if they never ask me again? If I don't do this, then will I lose credibility? Will they think that I'm not okay? It's people pleasing. It's gate 50. And so I lie awake last night and I was thinking, I have to be true to myself and I have to do this because I know, like, I have awareness that this needs to be corrected in order for me to stay with my integrity, care for myself truly. So I called and I broke the news. And by the way, it's messy. I broke the news to this coordinator gal and it was messy. I cried. I'm like, I hate putting people out. It's like a year ago, 6 months ago, I wouldn't have had the courage to do that. But right now I'm in a place where I am starting to embody that fear of disappointing myself, being worthy, being valuable, just as valuable as disappointing someone else, myself. Hope that made sense. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to leave that one at there. If you have examples of these, please let me know. All right, gate 57, fear of the future. This gate is deep intuition. You sense what's coming before others do. Fear of overthinking can block your instincts. When I think of fearing the future, I mean, I guess my last example actually fits pretty well in here. Like, I knew inside, not my best choice. And whenever I start making decisions from my head, which if you haven't gotten to know the human design system, we all get this inner authority to pass our decisions through so that it's not just from our head, because our body has a lot of wisdom and it's a big, huge part of making decisions that we feel confident in. Fear and overthinking can block your instincts. So for gate 57, overthinking is what's going to block you. And the reflection prompt for this is, where am I ignoring a quiet knowing because I'm scared? Where am I ignoring a quiet knowing because I'm scared? So, in this example I just shared about the speaking engagement, fear came up. What if I do this and I go through with it? Probably nothing wrong, right? Like, probably nothing bad's going to happen. I'm sure I would have nailed the speaking engagement. It would have been fun. It would have been fine. But ignoring that quiet knowing, I'm not willing to do it when I recognize it. And the hope is, like, my sincere hope is that I get so well practiced at having that quiet knowing of this is right for me, passing through my authority and just knowing. And I have my spleen center defined. So I always have access to intuition. And maybe you do too. Listening to my intuition has never steered me wrong. Do you agree? Have you had this experience? Like, there's so many times that if I make the decision that goes against, where I ignore the quiet knowing, right? I will know when it's over? Oh, I ignored my intuition. I knew it and I didn't do it. There's your reflection. What is it? Where do you have a quiet knowing of what's safe, what's right, what's something you want to push through fear and walk in courage in? Where is fear holding you back? And your affirmation is, I trust my intuition to lead me with clarity and courage. Clarity and courage. Can you do that today? All right, let's move on to gate 48, fear of inadequacy. You're built for depth and mastery. You're deeply resourceful, but might never feel ready. Fear of not knowing enough can keep you stuck. This is one that I don't have active. So I'm going to give you this reflection prompt, and hopefully someone that does have it can either send me a DM or maybe just in the conversation on the Inspired by Design Facebook group. I would love to hear from you how this applies. So the reflection prompt, am I stalling because I'm scared I'm not enough yet? Is there something that you have been learning, something that you've been pulled to, that you're just like, oh, maybe just a little bit longer. Maybe I'll read one more book. Maybe I'll do one more thing. It reminds me very much of the 1-3 profiles. It's like this dance between, I want to be an expert and I need to know a little bit more before I take action. And you can see how fear here would really hold someone back if you're going to have to feel the fear and do it anyway in this circumstance. So what is that one for you? Where have you been holding back or not sharing or not fully sharing, not being 100% open and honest? Where have you been holding back and hiding? She's holding back, she's hiding. Oh, that one just came. Oh, I love The Lion King, don't you? All right, so here's your affirmation. My depth is a gift. I honor the timing of mastery. My depth is a gift. I honor the timing of mastery. There is a big piece of fear that goes along with trust the timing, trust the timing, trust the timing. I definitely am learning that lesson. Gate 44, fear of the past. You're gifted at recognizing patterns and reading people. You may fear history repeating itself or shame returning. This can hold you back from moving forward with boldness. Now, I've had a lot of readings that have this gate active. It must be a popular one. So tell me if you can relate. And here's your reflection. Here's your question to answer. If you have gate 44, what old story am I ready to rewrite? What old story are you ready to rewrite? Guys, we all do this. We create stories about other people. We create stories about our past. We create stories about our future that hasn't happened yet. What if this? What if that? What if it doesn't work? Then I better not start. So a lot of times, though, this fear of the past is big. What if I did it again? I failed here. And now you make that mean something about your future. And can you see that if you failed at something, or it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, if you're owning that as an identity, instead of looking at it as like, oh, interesting, I learned one way that it doesn't work. So what's next? Like, that curiosity has to be there in order to walk with courage in this circumstance. The affirmation for gate 44, I am not my past. I walk forward in clarity and power. So, hey, I learned this from my past, thank goodness. But I am not my past. In fact, I was watching a reel with my husband today, and he showed it to me. It was like an hourglass with sand. It was like a guy's motivational speech or something. And he said that sand is coming through the hourglass. And if you're focused on the bottom section where the sand is going, then you're missing it falling through. The only time we have is today, right now. And that's that tiny little window between the big top side and the big bottom section, that little space between where the sand is moving. And that's our present moment. That's all we've got. And we have to shatter those fears that hold us back. In this case, those things, that sand on the bottom, like, it has nothing to do with the sand that's moving now. In fact, if you don't look at the sand that's moving now, if you're not engaged with the sand that's going between the two right now, that present moment, you will miss it. That's more devastating than the fear of putting yourself out there. So we gotta get out there and do it, right? Gate 32, fear of failure. You have an intuitive knowing about what will succeed. You're great with spotting potential in others, and fear of what if it doesn't work paralyzes you. Oh, goodness. Can you relate? The reflection prompt here. What if it does work out better than I imagined? So a lot of times when I'm coaching a team member, they'll come to me and say like, ugh, what if I send this and they think that I'm spammy? What if I do this and no one sees it? Am I wasting my time? And this person said I was XYZ. So, the trolly comments on a Instagram post or something. So I always say, if you're going to be that mean to yourself, if you're going to talk about all the ways that it didn't work in the past and all the ways that you might fail, then you also have to give equal time to what if it goes really well? If you're going to tell a story about failing, you need to be able to also tell yourself an equal story. And I would argue a much stronger story about what if it succeeds? So this reflection prompt is, you already know something that has good potential for you, and it will always remain potential until you take action. So what is that for you? And what if it works out better than you ever imagined? What then? Give yourself the gift of dreaming about what if, but not only the negative side. Affirmation. I believe in what's possible for others and for me. I believe in what's possible for others and for me. And you know what? As you start walking in courage through that fear of failure, you're going to be showing people what's possible. And that's going to inspire them. That's helping other people, y'all. Okay, let's go to gate 18. This is the last one in the Spleen Center. Fear of authority, or it could also be getting it wrong for everyone. You see what needs fixing for the good of all. You want things to be right and just. Fear of being judged or not being good enough can block your gifts. Your reflection prompt is, where am I afraid to be judged for my corrections? Where am I afraid to be judged for my corrections? The affirmation here is, I honor my eye for truth and share it with love and grace. So whenever I do a reading for people that have gate 18, we always talk a little bit about, hey, you have judgments, you see wrong. And sometimes that identity that they'll take on is, I am too critical. I need to keep my opinion to myself because it just comes off as critiquing or criticism. People don't like to hear from me because they always know I'm going to tell them what's wrong. And here's the thing. We need people to be able to help us improve, period. And so if you were given this gift, then it is you walking in courage to find the way to share it. Now, do you have to be mean about it? No. If you are going to share something that needs to be changed, you need to have good manners with it, right? Like, hey, I have been thinking a lot about this situation, and I noticed that I have an idea that could maybe make it better. Would you be open to letting me share that with you? That is a kind way. And you know what? Not a soul that I know is going to say, no, thanks. I'll keep it as is. I like it how it is. They're going to be at least curious to see, what do you think would make it better? And if they invite you to share your critique, what needs fixing, and it's with that genuine heart of like, this needs to be better, then they're not going to judge you for seeing something that could help them. Also, they're going to hear it with a better spirit. There's plenty you can do here. So, okay, reflection prompt, where am I afraid of being judged for my corrections? And the affirmation is, I honor my eye for truth and share it with love and grace. So I really hope that some of you gate 18 people can give me an example of this, maybe where it went wrong and where it went right. Okay, what do you think? Do one of these stand out the most to you? Where is fear showing up in your life? Because wherever fear is showing up, this is not something that's gone wrong. It's something that is giving you an opportunity to stand in who you are meant to be learn something and build that self-trust by walking through those fears in courage, knowing that this is a gift. This is a gift you have to give to the world. So make sure you let me know what you think. I really do sincerely appreciate all of you who rate and review the podcast. For those of you that share your thoughts about certain topics, if you don't remember, I have now a form where you can submit a question to the podcast. So if you have a question about human design, something in your chart that you're curious about, if you have anything about the podcast that has brought up a curiosity or question, I want you to submit those, because I am, like my design says, I work best when I'm asked questions. So I want to find a way to incorporate that. But also, how cool would it be if everything that you were curious about human design, you could just listen to a podcast episode and get your answer without having to do all the research? Or I would love to do a one-to-one reading with you and make it custom for you. Make sure you fill that out. And this month, May, we are doing that another giveaway. So anybody that registers for the masterclass, you get entries for attending. You get entries for every question you submit to the podcast, and for rating, reviewing, sharing. Make sure you tag me if you do that. I've gotten a few tags this week. I really appreciate those. I've got you entered to win. Here's my final plug. This masterclass, I want you there if it's something that's going to help. All right. And here's how you'll know if this is for you. Do you want to feel better in your body? Like more energy? Figure out why you feel blah. Figure out why you keep cycling back to, I need to lay on the couch. I can't do this today. Those kinds of feelings and thoughts might be for you. Actually, just sign up. I want you to find out if it's for you by coming. All right. And then the second, learn, do you have nervous system dysregulation? If you don't know what that means, do you stress out about things that make you feel like you might die? Do you have panic attacks? Do you have a hard time going to sleep, staying asleep? Do you feel like you can't sit still? When you're in yoga class, do you do extra push-ups and hate to lay down on that mat at the end? Dysregulated nervous systems make you feel and overwork, burnout. If you feel burnout, your nervous system's dysregulated. If you feel like you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you probably need some of these tools. And a lot of the tools for learning how to cope and regulate your own nervous system can empower you in ways that you cannot even imagine. For example, like as I've been going through a tough time here recently, and if I didn't have my nervous system regulation tools, like going to yoga, tapping, my red light therapy, giving myself a hug and breathing deep, meditating, coaching, mentoring, all of these things, I would be an absolute mess. I wouldn't be able to function in my regular everyday life. So if you're struggling with any of that, or if you're just curious if you are, come on to the masterclass. And finally, if you want more peace, but you're not sure how to change your life without hurting other people and blowing up everything and burning it to the ground, if you're thinking all or nothing about getting what you want. So this was me. Of course, I'm making my teaching all about things that I have learned the lesson of and that I need to continue to remember, right? But everybody needs to figure out a settlement in their spirit while still being able to have energy and move with confidence towards what you know is right for you in your life, like the big vision stuff, not just I'm supposed to go here at 7 o'clock. All right. If you want peace and energy in your body and you're thinking, I can't have that because of the role I play, I can't have that because it's too far gone, I've already have so much obligation, it would blow up my entire life, my schedule, everything that makes me feel safe and secure, for me to have peace or to start searching that I don't have time. I don't have time for myself. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to really think about what I want in the big picture. If any of those things resonate, then it's time for you to reclaim your peace. And I know that you can do it without blowing up your whole life. You can start in small ways, dabbling in taking strides forward for your life without it all blowing up in your face. All right. That's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you like breaking down the centers, there are 8 more. So I just submit the question, which one are you interested in? And I really am curious if you have some experience with feeling this fear and walking through it with courage, getting to that other side, or at least getting the lesson that you need. Until next time, have a great day, and please stay in touch. I hope to see you at the masterclass on May 30th. Okay, bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Inspired by Design with Katie Rupert. If today's episode sparked something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Share your takeaways, subscribe, or even leave a review to help others find the show. For more tools and insights, visit my free Facebook group. And until next time, keep embracing exactly who you are and move forward one inspired action at a time.